Tim, I saw this morning they still had some cones there by the sidewalk on the tracks on 30th. Is that just let the concrete dry, or what was that for?
Now, they should be along the curb, along the curb line. That's because there's a drop off there until they mill that asphalt. They didn't want to put right against the new curb and didn't want to have to mill against the curb. So
Yeah.
they just left it down. So they're there so that a motorcycle or something like that don't drive right into it.
Well, that is nice, though.
Yeah. They did a great job, I think, Tim. I mean,
Could have been a little bit wider, though.
Yeah, they missed it by 4 feet.
did they? I did notice that. It's
It's
more
too
narrow.
It's too far to the west than it is east. They put the crossing in.
Oh, is that right?
Boy, the rim
Missed about 4 feet. Could have had it perfect.
Turn it off.
Once the cones are gone, it's repaved. It'll actually be wider than what it was before. But it could have been a lot wider.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you actually go up and you're tapering down to 2 lane to go across.
Yeah,
So
if you're heading northbound, you kind of go to the left a little.
And then you come back east.
Yeah.
And it could have been where you just pretty much just went across.
Mm-hmm.
People are going across slower now than they did before.
No, really?
Yeah.
Well, they're checking it out. They're looking.
That's
They're
right.
talking,
They're feeling how good it is.
They're in nip nose mode. You live in Licking County long?
You know that's this county's full of it.
Anything new is a spectator sport for a few days.
How was vacation, man?
It was a lot of fun. Thank you. I had a great time. Yeah, the weather was great. There was only one day where rain kind of drove us off the beach, maybe a little earlier than we otherwise would have. But I mean, when we went down there, it looked hit or miss for the whole week. So yeah, I got a little sun. It doesn't take me long.
We don't want to go down to marriage vacation.
Okay. We'll move on to the delinquent utility
Nick, how you
accounts.
doing?
Good.
Howdy, sir.
We're going to forward this to the auditor of Lincoln County if you guys give an okay on it. And I made some copies of the people there's 2 of them this time, and they're on your to look for review.
Okay, then, Ward 3. Come on, bud. Come on. Bang on some doors.
Hey, both of them are.
I know. Yeah, that's what I noticed.
I know Ward 3, son.
That's what I noticed.
So do I.
Okay.
Well,
Liver is the second word, okay.
Going down we'll go over to the water, and we're going to talk a little bit about the water projects that's going on right now. I don't know if you've noticed the guys out, but they've been flushing hydrants. They start usually at the plant and work their way out. I think they flushed some hydrants at the wastewater plant and broke a couple meters, didn't they, or something?
Yeah.
I don't know. Every once in a while, a hydrant.
Well, you let practice on the ones at the wastewater plant.
The hydrant will slam shut sometimes, and you're supposed to go real slow, but every once in a while one will kind of slam, and I guess it blew out one of the frost bottoms on one of the meters at the wastewater plant. So, and we had Dan Stofan all up in arms and everything, and he was mad at the water guys and all that. So I think we got it straightened out. So flushing's going on. Usually when we're flushing, it's put in the paper. It's also on the website, the time period that we're flushing.
Are the locations also? I mean, do we kind of update where the locations
No,
are?
we don't do the locations. What we do is we put signs out for
Yeah.
the locations that we're actually flushing.
Yeah.
So there'll be several signs out in that location where we're flushing the hydrants and so forth. So that's kind of what we do. Plant update is underway at the water plant. The painters are in there now, and they are sandblasting clarifier number 3. I'll show you some more info, some slides and stuff on that here coming up pretty shortly. We're working on completion of the Franklin Avenue water main and pump station punch list. Believe it or not, we still have a few items left on the punch list. We put in a brand new fiberglass door in the pump station that had a crack in it. So we sent it back. We got 2 brand new doors. Also, one of the pumps, the head on the pump, on the chlorine pump, wasn't working right, so we sent it back, had it repaired. So that was one of the things on the punch list. And the other thing was on the punch list was the painting of the pipes. We wanted them repainted because it didn't look real good, so they repainted that. That's completed. And then on Franklin Avenue, there was some settling and one of the patches that they did, and they're going to go back and dig that up, and then bring that up to grade. And they're making TLV do that. So that's another thing.
And this is prior to them paving.
Yeah, it's prior to the paving.
Yeah. How's the grass coming in at
I think it looks
at
pretty
the
good.
station?
I think it looks good.
Okay.
I mean, a lot better than what I anticipated it to be. But yeah, I think it's coming in pretty good.
Okay.
Summer Help's doing an excellent job. We had a summer help on. We had 2 boys in water and 2 boys in wastewater. They're doing a real good job. I don't know. I think they're doing pretty good, don't you?
I think it's one of the best groups we've personally had.
Yeah. One of them's Jack's stepson, and the other one's another friend of his stepson. So, and then we have 2 of them down at the water plant too. John Appleman's son is actually at the water plant, and who's the other guy that they just hired. Put in an application. So, but they seem to be doing a really good job. Okay, next thing I want to talk about is a little bit about the MOSCAD PLC to MicroLogix PLC. And what a PLC basically does is it actually operates the plant. It's called a programmable logic controller. And what we have going on right now is we have a MOSCAD unit in there. And let me kind of tell you how this all came about and what happened. It wasn't originally on the design of the update of the plant. And I kind of felt that it would just be a matter of connecting in our new clarifier and our new high service pumps and everything like that, connecting into our PLC program. Well, the guy from Westerman who does the work on our PLCs and so forth told me that the MOSCAD unit is very outdated. In fact, they can't even work on it anymore. And the company that we'd have to get to work on it, who is out of Michigan, they have to drive down from Michigan to service our PLCs. And basically what it is kind of the brain of the plant. It takes all the levels and records them in the SCADA system, and it tells everything what to do. And it's pretty crucial. And basically what he's telling me is that this unit is getting older. It was put in 1997. He feels that if you would add to it right now, you connect the new stuff to it, that if it broke down, you'd have a hard time everything would go down, and you'd have a hard time finding parts and so forth for it. So he worked me up a price on what it would cost to go into adding this new MicroLogix PLC. Now, one reason it's a good thing is it's newer technology. The other thing, it's easier to work with. In other words, not just Westerman can work on it, but anyone who does that kind of work has the ability to work on it. With this MOSCAD unit, it's a Motorola. There's only a select few, and there's I went in on the internet, and the closest one to us is in Michigan. It'll come and work on it. Anyway, more companies have the ability to service it, and again, the MOSCAD unit is hard to find parts for. We have a few of the parts. It actually went down about 3 months ago, and we found some parts at the wastewater plant that we were able to scavenge off of that. But those parts are kind of getting far and few between. So we did get it back up and running. But basically, if you don't have that PLC, you have to run everything by hand. You'd have to go out and physically check, see how many gallons is in that tank. Then you have to come back to the plant, run the pump until it overflowed. And you have to go back out when the tank starts overflowing, then you have to come back. I mean, it just controls everything. I mean, it's the brain. So, and this reason why I kind of I passed out this paper here. It kind of explains a little bit about it. I don't know if everyone's got one, I put it up there, but some of the stuff they'd be doing is they're going to basically put in a whole new system for us. And I also wanted to mention too, the reason why we got this MOSCAT unit, it's by Motorola. I don't know if you remember the 800 system. Some of you can remember that. We put in an 800 system. Well, we were on that for a little bit, for maybe a few years. And then they pulled us off of it because they said the police and fire couldn't talk in critical situations. They'd go to key up or something like that, and we would be so busy sending information out that they couldn't.
It was taking up their channel.
It was taking up our channel, so they kicked us off. So then we went to another type of radio system. And what we're doing is we'd be including this new stuff in on that radio system and adding to that radio system into the PLC. But this kind of, on the bulk water plant, it even runs that. It tells you how many gallons. Like when people come in to get bulk water, you fill your tank up, it tells you how many gallons is in it, and then when to shut off. You know, they put in like they want 5,000 gallons, and then there's a meter down there, and then it tells this valve to close and shut off. That's how, you know, everything works off of it. They're going to add new Utilinet radio to that location, modify panel view for Micrologics, add new Micrologics PLCs at each individual well, so the wells can communicate with the plant. They're going to remove the MOSCAT PLCs at each wells, and they're going to add and then at the plant itself, they're going to add MDS 9810 radios in electrical rooms, an electrical room for comm to remote sites, a remote site PLC on a separate Wonderware HMI appearance, bring down SLC. Now you guys may know what all this stuff is, but I do know that the PLC and the HMI has something to do with the graphics. You know, when you go on a screen that shows tanks and there's graphics and all that. But basically,
That's the computer that's in the corner
Uh-huh.
of that room when you first walk in there?
yeah.
Okay.
So basically, they're going to update all of this, and I wanted you guys to be aware of that. Now, what I kind of wanted to let you know is, when we bid this project, we borrowed $1.5 million, and the bids came in at $1,262,000. Well, this upgrade to the system is going to run about, let's see if I got the, it's about $96,000, $97,000. That's
Right there, yeah.
And basically, it's money that we've already borrowed for the project. The project came in under the amount, and if we want to update this, it would amount to $97,650 on the request for legislation.
We borrowed $1.5 million.
We borrowed $1.5 million. The bid came in at $1,262,000, which leaves about $238,000 that we can pull from for this improvement. I talked to Heath Alexander, and kind of what he was saying, that money's already been approved, but we would still have to do a legislative request to update the PLC system in there. So there's still, you know, over $100,000, even after we do this, that would be left in there in case of an emergency or something that would happen during the construction. But anyway, that's what this request for legislation is.
Good questions.
Go ahead.
How much money did we save by engineering this ourselves, just from?
This was engineered.
This was engineered?
This one was engineered.
This is, you talking about the plant project?
While we were saving money. How'd they miss this?
Well, this is kind of how it was. I mean, they looked at it, but it was kind of my fault in a way. Not totally, but yes, in a way it was. Because I basically thought that I could just run the new stuff into what we had. Well, B&N looked at it, but then they said, well, you know, you're gonna take care of this, right? And I said, yeah, they kind of got off the hook, but I kind of wish they would have told me, well, you know, you got kind of an antiquated system, or you've got a system here that's kind of older, and maybe you ought to, you know, let us tell you what, you know, this is gonna cost you. Well, I didn't realize it was gonna be that much, to be quite honest with you. When I pulled them in and they looked at the unit and said how old it was and how they didn't feel that it would be a good thing to invest money into something that old, to put the new stuff, tie the new stuff into it. So basically that's kind of how it did. I thought we could take care of it in-house. I never dreamt the number was gonna be this big.
You know, piece and part in this thing. Sounds like a MacGyver episode or something here.
Well,
We've gotten about 15 to 20 years of service out
Oh,
of the
wow.
current SCADA system
that's
that we
down.
have.
And we updated the wastewater system when we updated the wastewater plant about 1.5 years ago. All that was put in.
That's how we had the parts to use when
And ours
this
went
last
down.
incident.
Yeah, that's how we found the parts to redo this.
My second question, only because I'm programmed to do this every time.
That's all right.
Every time.
You're fine.
Competitive bid.
You know, there's not a lot of people that work on these systems, and Westerman does a lot of the work. We had another company that came in at the wastewater plant who really was horrible. I don't know that we'd have any benefit out of competitive bidding. A lot of the stuff that comes from this comes from McNaughton and McKay, the parts and so forth, and they're Allen Bradley. And this company here will buy parts from McNaughton and McKay, and then they will install it. But the majority of this cost is the actual PLC itself and the cards and so forth.
Is this vendor out of Columbus or someplace a whole lot closer?
Bremen, Ohio.
That's a little closer than Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do all of our work. What we're doing is we dealt with another company in Ohio, and we're getting away from them at the wastewater plant and going more with Westerman right now because they treat us right. They don't overcharge us.
How long have they been in business?
Westerman.
Long time. They're actually just got bought out by Worthington Industries.
Yeah.
But Westerman's been in business in Bremen, Ohio since 1925, I think I was reading.
25 or 30.
Yeah, something like that. They're mainly deal in well fields, like gas wells and that kind of stuff, but they've gotten into this over the years.
So you're telling me you've done your due diligence on competitive bidding questions. You got a local vendor.
That's correct.
30 minutes away, not 6 hours and 30 minutes away.
I was telling the mayor earlier that, you know, just to call them on the phone and have them just show up at the front door before they even start working on anything, that's $1,000 bill. Okay. The computers are funny. I mean, they're hard to understand. I'm not fully into them. I mean, I didn't know that this unit was getting older. I thought we could just tie right into it, and you know, we may cost maybe $5,000 to $10,000. But when they told me, you know, which I would just take out of the regular budget and be able to handle it with no trouble at all. But when they told me that we'd be investing in an old equipment, and if it broke down, we'd have a hard time getting parts for it, then I started worrying, you know. And then I said, well, then how much is this going to be? Well, then, you know, they started figuring, they got back with me, and it turned into an expensive venture. I mean, it's the price of the cards that go in, the PLC, computer itself. It's very expensive.
What's the warranty? This is a massive computer. Is it
It's not really massive.
1 year?
What's in there right now is about this big and about that tall. This thing that we're getting now is kind of like this. It's
1
about a
year?
third of the
Yeah,
size.
that's a good question.
1 year extended warranty. I mean, since we got a little extra money here, let's investigate extended warranty possibilities.
John, what is this that I'm
and everything
looking
else.
at?
I mean,
That's the cost, the total cost. That's the
Let
bill.
me ask you one question then on this because I think I might have found something that might address Jeff's question. Quantity, unit price, net price. I took that number, 24,800. Here's another $144,875.
You add all those up, that'll come to that 96.
Well, when I added them all up, it came to 102,950. They have a grand total on this of 78,150. So I'm not coming up, either way I go, I'm not coming up with that.
92.
Half the.
Yeah,
Basic charges.
and that's, I'm trying to, here, wait a minute, let me,
I added up a couple times.
Before we start cranking out legislative requests, just make sure we got spot on numbers.
here. Jeff, I'm looking at this, and this is a terms and condition of sale on this warranty. Any claim for breach of or the failure to comply with this warranty must be submitted to seller in writing within the period of 1 year from the date of shipment of the products.
Probably a year warning.
Warranty of services.
We don't have any other pieces and parts to fix this thing ourselves, so this is brand new stuff. This is a Motorola basic.
One we're replacing is Motorola
This is
Moscat.
Micrologics.
This is
Completely
Micrologics.
different.
They cover all the parts here locally. It's an Allen Bradley system. And all your, McNaughton and McKay carries all the parts for it.
Which is a big outfit.
I want to re-add those.
I don't see anything on the warranty of services as far as a period of time, the way that I did with warranty of products. Yeah, add those up again, John, because
I'd like to explore extended warranty.
I mean, I think even if you just
want
take
to purchase this extended warranty?
No, I want to know what it is and what it covers. Something for consideration, since we have extra money available.
Let me ask too, while you're adding this up, that B&N, they were the advisors on the,
this was not in their scope of
No,
work.
not in their scope of service.
Okay, they were not obligated to mention that the age of the SCADA system,
Okay.
could be an issue.
and then who mentioned it now?
Who was it, John, that mentioned it?
Mentioned what, I'm sorry.
That we needed this, it's outdated and so forth.
Oh, Westerman, who does the work at our water and wastewater plant, said that.
Okay, it's different than B&N that directed the,
Correct.
okay.
They told us to go to someone and have it.
What about the engineer? Did they know?
No, it wasn't in their scope.
So I'm saying it wasn't in their scope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They gave us the original cost on what they thought was going to be.
What
the
John's
main
saying is a heads up would have been nice, but they weren't obligated to.
Yeah.
It wasn't in their scope. They didn't do anything wrong
Yeah.
by not doing it.
Who writes the scope? Who comes up-
I do.
You write the scope.
I'm just going to tell you, basically, I didn't think we would have to replace the Moscat unit. I don't have to. I can spend $5,000 or $6,000 or $8,000 on it, but I'm not going to be able to repair that unit. So I'll have to go to this. I'd have to go to something like this if I want to get something and bring it back up to date. But you're taking that $8,000 and throwing it away, or whatever it would cost, maybe more than that. I don't know. All they told me is Westerman told me that, and I can get some more, if you want me to try to get in contact, but I was just dealing with someone we deal with on a routine basis. I've dealt with other companies and have not liked the way they work. And what they basically do is they hold you, if you think this is bad, what they basically do is try to get you into a contract and want you to spend so much a year for them to come and work on it. And this other company wanted me to sign a contract for like $12,000 or $14,000 for them to work on the wastewaters. And we haven't had a bit of trouble with them.
I'm not suggesting it's bad. I want to try to mitigate the maintenance calls. If we have an opportunity at a reasonable price, since we have money available to get an extended warranty for another 3 years or 5 years, we should.
on what
at
we're
least-
purchasing.
We should at least consider that. over the-
Okay.
for
Westerman
1 year-
will do
for
that.
1 year. Let's find out, let's ask the
Because
question.
remember, it's not
We got
Westerman.
the
It's not
money.
Westerman that's building the. It's not Westerman that makes the units. They just install the units.
Some-
if-
Somebody,
Somebody's gonna have to service it though,
somebody's,
and be them, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
they've got, like Jeff's saying, if we could look into an extended warranty,
we have the
Got
money
the money,
committed
you can ask
already.
Take that grand total on the first page of 24,800.
Mm-hmm.
Add it to the grand total on the
What
next
did you
to
end up getting?
102,950. Take that 24. Take that 24,800
Yeah, I see that.
and add it to the
What I was doing
78,150.
is the net prices.
That's what I originally did.
Yeah.
But the one grand total plus the other grand total still equals 102,950.
It could be. I can check into it even more.
I mean, I think that's the amount we're looking for.
Yeah, grand total.
Yeah, 24,800 plus 78,150
You're
is
probably right if it's that way.
102,950.
Because I didn't figure, I was taking the subtotals, and maybe I missed something. And the 78, see, here's another net for 44.
Yeah.
That's probably,
Yeah, the nets, those other nets go to that grand.
okay. $102.50 if you do it that way.
Yeah. And I added up the nets at first and came up with that.
Yeah, with
So,
the total.
Yeah,
102.
you probably missed one of those ones that was like for
I
5,000.
could have. So I know I was getting the prices today, and I was adding them up before I came here.
If you wouldn't mind, just maybe call them at least one other vendor,
I can do that.
just to keep everybody honest. I think your recommendation is great, but
Is there anybody else that's local like these guys? Is there anybody else out of Columbus or maybe Zanesville or
You know, I don't really deal with, I mean, we've dealt with Westland, but I can get another vendor to get a price. That's no
would
problem.
be an end no of somebody else?
I'm sure they would.
just
All right.
silence the critics.
Yeah,
That might
we can do that.
look at this deal.
That's no problem.
Okay? It's just capitalism. I'm just always gonna ask that question.
No, it's a good idea. It's a good question. I'll agree with it. Okay, let me get some prices together and we'll get back. I'll get back with you.
On the warranty and everything.
If you can do that, and if you can do that this week, then let's just plan on talking about it in finance next week.
week after. Oh, no, it's the following. Never mind.
We have
I'm sorry.
5 Sunday.
It's July.
No, there's only 4 Mondays
There's
in
only
June.
4 Mondays.
There's 5 in July.
5 in July.
You're awful quiet down there, Tim. Shh, don't tell him.
I want to do that and kick Dennis out of there. Need to get through the whole bottom.
Okay, and then get an extra bid.
Yeah. I mean, if you're ready in a week, let's do it on July 1st. If not, let's do it in finance on July
When
15th.
I get everything together, I'll do it.
Yep. I don't think we necessarily need to wait for this committee. I think if I'm reading everybody right, everybody understands the idea and understands the needs and okay with
It's the
moving forward. It's
competitiveness
the,
and the cost.
yeah. So we can do that.
If that's one less headache you gotta deal with,
Believe me.
next 3 years and 5 years, John, and we gotta spend an extra few $1,000s that we already committed to.
Get it now.
It's a no-brainer in my mind.
Yep. Okay, sounds excellent to me. Okay, so that kind of explains that. I'll try to get a little better understanding of everything for you next time, and we'll go through it. Again, they started working on the water plant. They're sandblasting the clarifier right now.
Which one's this one? This is the
This
number.
is-
This is the big
our-
one.
This is the big one.
Yeah.
This one that gets sandblasted, and I am going to tell you that we have had some other issues come up. Inside here is a cathodic protection, and this is something that B&N did know about. Inside this unit, we have what we call cathodic protections, and there's two areas. One is the area 1, which covers the outside of this tank, and the other one is area 2, which covers the inside of this tank. Well, I come in the first day that they start, and the guy goes, "How come the cathodic protection is still in there?" And I said, "It's always in there." well, we got a sandblast and we need this taken out of here. I said, okay. Let me call the Core Pro, the people who supplies the equipment and stuff for me and services it, and I'll see if we can go ahead and just take it down. Well, I called him up and said, oh, you just can't take that down. You gotta be careful what you do and so forth. Also, he said, did you also realize that cathodic protection was put in 98, 97, and those anode bags that's put in there need replaced. So if you take it down, you're going to need to add some parts, add some things back in. This is B&N now here. I didn't have anything to do with it. Well, I get pricing. The guy says, well, we're going to ruin these units if we leave it. I call the engineer. She goes, no. She goes, they can move those things around. $4 million, and no, they can't. They're going to have problems with this unit. So I called the engineer back out. Oh yeah, well you probably should take them down then if they said that it's going to cause problems. Well, I think it's $6,800 to replace the anode units inside here. And it's probably going to be about the same amount to do the ones on the outside too. Now those are coming out of our regular budget, but that's something that the engineer didn't figure. I mean, it's just.
Is that in your scope of work?
That was in our scope of work.
Oh. What are we gonna do about that?
That's what I call an answer. She hasn't returned the call.
Convenient.
So just kind of wanted you to be aware of that too, so it's, engineers can make mistakes.
Just a consideration here.
The material they're using the sandblast with is like a black anthracite, and that's what they're taking it off with. This is the actual rectifier unit that works, cathodic protection unit on the inside. And it's worked well. I mean, it's done an excellent job. Not very much metal deterioration or anything. And it looks pretty good. That's a picture down through into the clarifier to the bottom. And this is that inner portion I said that was covered on the cathodic protection. And then there's the outer portion. I wanted to tell you another little story, and this is kind of interesting too. That same day, I came back on vacation on Monday. The cathodic protection thing was one of the first things that hit me. And then
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. And the second thing that hit me was Steve Glob. They said there's getting too much water down in the clarifier unit to sandblast. You can't have that much water. So you're gonna have to plug this 20-inch drain off. Well, Steve, he gets in a big hurry and runs and goes and borrows a plug from some contractor somewhere, fills the plug up, and stuffs it inside there so no more water can go down this drain and into this clarifier going through this tube right here.
Is that white thing?
Yeah, see this tube right here? We actually cut this out because that's how we had to remove the bladder. What happened was the contractor goes, no, I don't want that kind of plug in there. I want a mechanical plug. You guys take that plug out there. But the painters, you got to remember too that there's painters down there, and the painters are going to Steve. This is all while I was gone, the week I was gone. Painters are going to Steve and saying, oh, we need that water shut off. We need that water shut off. And Steve, being Steve, I don't know if you know who Steve is, but he'd do about anything for anybody, and he runs around like a chicken with his head cut all that time. So he runs over there, fills the plug up, and the contractor goes, no. Yes, I know, I want the mechanical plug in there. I don't want that plug in there. But the painters were happy because the water quit. You know, he was trying to keep the painters happy. Didn't converse with the foreman on the job that much. So the foreman tells him, take it out. So Steve, there's a rope on the end of the plug. He had it tied off and everything. He starts to take the air out of the plug like that. And there must have been a vacuum or something on it. It sucked that plug right down inside this pipe, and it got lodged right here at this flange. Now you got to remember, there's 110 feet from where that plug went in to this location right here. We had no idea where it was at. I come in, I called the wastewater guys. We tried to run the rodder down there, tried to push it or vac it, suck it, one way or another. Push, pull, whatever we had to do. Anyway,
Was the contractor pleased with the effectiveness of the plug at that point?
Well, this is what he does. The guys are down in there working on it, and I'm sitting there at the desk, you know, and I said, they'll get it out. I said, we'll find it one way or another. We're going to get it out. So we took this apart. We took this apart, and by golly, we looked up in there, and there was a plug right there at this, because it could have been anywhere. 110, 120 some feet from this point to where it went in at. And we found it right here at this wall. It's jammed right here.
So it went through the whole.
Went through the drain in, clear into the clarifier, and stopped right here. Right, if I can get that, right here at this wall. So when we cut that out, you know, we could see it. So we're in there working, trying to get the plug out. Well, it's yanking and pulling, and they were having a rough time. Foreman on the job comes to me and goes, "You gotta quit doing that." He goes, "I got these painters sitting here waiting. We can't have them set. Well, I'm losing money. We can't have these sandblasters and painters sitting here." I said, "Now wait a minute. We were trying to accommodate you." You know, I said, "From now on," I finally went out. I was pissed. I finally went out. On the second time he came in and told me, I said, "Look," I said, "from now on," I told the operators, and I said, "I don't want you doing anything. If they ask you to do something, you go through that foreman, and then you go through me. Because we're not helping these guys out in any way. It's their responsibility to do it." I said, "Steve," I said, "just let me know what they tell you, what they want, and then we'll determine whether or not we should help them. Because if it's going to cause us problems and time and money and everything," I said, "I want to know about it." So anyway, long story short, we had to pull off the job. This was like, again, happened Monday, Tuesday, we were still working on it. Wednesday, we couldn't hold them up because they didn't want to hold them up to get that plug out. Meanwhile, we were hoping that the plug wouldn't go back any other direction or anything like this. It stays right at that wall, you know, I mean, and it did. But Friday, they don't work. They work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So Friday, we were able to get down in there. We got it all tore out. I had John Appleman, me, and Steve, and we finally got it cut up enough, the rubber bladder, that we could hook a come along to it, and we winched it out. So we got that out of there. But that was just, you know, for just the job just starting. I mean, just painting, you'd think, "Oh, you're going to have trouble. They're going to come in, they're going to paint, and you're not going to have to worry about it." Well, that turned into a mess.
So we lost a whole week of half of the job.
No, they were sandblasting and painting. We just had to pull out from not recovering the ball. But the contractor was on my ass because we were in there trying to get that plug out. We wanted to get it out there because we didn't want to keep it stuck in that line in any way. But we wanted to get it out. But then he was on me because we were holding the painters up.
And this is after he told you that he needed to have that removed.
Yeah.
He needs you guys to remove it.
Yeah.
Well, all I know is this. The wastewater guys have to go clean the clarifiers themselves, don't they? You don't get to have a sandblaster go down there and clean it for you, do you? That was the one observation I had, too.
Anyway, this is they pulled up on site, and this is what they have here. They got everything tarped off, and they're down inside this clarifier right here, sandblasting. That's some of their trailers that they have out there.
So is that going to go back to the other? Is that going to be costing us more money then? I mean, other than we've lost 4 days of.
No, what John's saying is we didn't lose any.
We didn't lose any days. Because we got it out of there. I think we could have if he'd have given us 2 or 3 more hours, a couple hours, we'd have had it out of there. But they wouldn't wait that 2 or 3 hours because they had people there. That's why I said from this point on, I said, we aren't going to
pays
do.
the bill?
Well, we do. But it's a contract. I mean, when they come in and work, they're supposed to be able to work. We got to be really careful how much we help. What I'm trying to stress to Steve Glob is we got to be really careful what we do to help them out. Even though they come to us, I mean, a painter may come to them, not the foreman though, but this painter came to Steve and said, "You know, we need to quit this, stop this water." And we did everything we could do accommodating, but it backfired on us. That ended up sucking down in there. We had to spend time taking it in and out. And the
It becomes
contractor,
a liability
Yeah,
issue
we're
for us.
careful
It
of
does.
asking you to
we just have to be really careful.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do is change order, discuss.
What we do. When they're on site, we have to be careful what we help them with. That's the bottom
No
line.
good deed goes unpunished.
Well, Steve was trying to do a good deed, try to help everybody out, and they ended up kicking them behind that. But, I mean, we didn't lose any money on it or anything like that. We just had to pull off the job because the foreman wouldn't wait long enough for us to get that plug out. He wanted to keep the project going, and that's, I guess, basically that's what.
Well, if you wouldn't have told Steve he wanted mechanical steel in there.
And we would have been fine.
Yeah, would have been fine.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
worked like a charm.
Be sure to write it down, so when they try to add more money or something, because they had to sit for 3 or 4 hours.
Make sure
Yeah.
that
We've gone-
mask and a change order or
John.
something that covers this.
Yeah,
Did you then put a mechanical plug on it?
he did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Steve did, or the contractor?
Contractor did.
Okay.
He put the mechanical plug on after that, and we removed the ball from that portion that I told you.
Yeah.
We didn't have to go back any other direction, but
And then you connected it all back up.
then we connected it all back together. We did, the contractor did. We put everything back together while they were off on Friday. But they wouldn't let us work in there until Friday when they weren't there. So. And there's another picture of that where we took the ball out. And while they were sandblasting, I told them to cover that up real good so that no material could get inside there after we removed it.
Yeah.
There's more pictures. This is actually what they're doing, is they're actually taking this clarifier right back down to the metal. And then they're gonna repaint the totally. And they said everything's, the painter said everything's in really good shape.
The condition of the metal.
Condition of the metal's in
Okay.
really good shape, and this unit was put in 1998.
All right.
And I'd say that the cathodic protection probably helped a lot with that. That's a picture of taking it down to the metal. And as soon as they take it down to the metal, then they paint it with a primer. They can't let any time. Now they sandblasted a bunch off today. They were there sandblasting all day, and then that rain came up. I think they'll have to start all over again. And they'll have to take that, because if moisture gets on that, and it already starts the rusting process. So they'll have to go back into there and
One day rain.
yep. Yeah.
Wow.
They'll redo that and brush that off to a certain point to get it back down to the original metal again, then they'll paint it.
Wow.
And there's some of the material that they use to sandblast with on the floor of the clarifier.
So what do you do, then back that out or
And
something?
then back it out. Now that's another issue. They're already wanting us to use our back truck. And I
Nope.
said absolutely not.
No.
Yeah. Most cities we go to, they back this out for us after we get done paving it. Well,
Just ask them how they bid it.
What's
How'd
your-
you bid to get that out?
Yeah.
What sort of consideration can we
it
take?
isn't going to happen. I already told them it isn't going to happen. In fact, I told
For a price, still like this.
MPW, I had them stop in and talk to them and give them a price for them to back it out.
Oh, that pissed us off.
Yeah. That's what
We'll have a mechanical seal.
You'll
for
take
that
our
back
bladder
truck,
plug.
Painter comes in
you'll
and
like
goes,
it.
well, that's the last thing we want to do is piss you off.
It's
little-
on tape.
Yeah, it's too late. And there's another picture of it taking it down to the metal. Okay, that's about what I have for water.
Before you get started, I'm gonna excuse myself.
Sure.
This evening at 6:30, there is a group of Native Americans and a separate group of individuals from Germany who are over at Mound Builders Park, and as part of the, part of our effort to try to help obtain World Heritage status for that location, they've asked me to come and just basically welcome them to the site. So that starts at 6:30. So I'm going to go ahead and take off now. If there's anything that you need to brief me on the wastewater side, I should just get with me tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
Actually, don't have a whole lot on the wastewater, so things are going to go really quick here. Some of the stuff that we're doing in the wastewater projects is we're adding variable frequency drives to plant scum pump station. That's an improvement we plan on making this year out of our regular budget. Flushing of sewer lines, we just completed in the Greenbrier addition and Woodlands addition. So we've been in there flushing sewer lines. Inspection of restaurants are still underway with the fog program. Cleaned out the wet well in the plant. Were you involved in that?
A little bit.
The wet well?
A little bit.
Okay. And getting ready to take down clarifier for cleaning and inspection. They started on that today. And I think they're taking the south clarifier now, is that correct? Just a few of the things that we're working on. Scioto Fox Run lift station removal update. Construction to start anytime. It actually started today. Nick Ross, City of Heath, and Steve Chris with Jobs and Henderson will be inspecting the project as the project goes forward. We were actually out there today, didn't we? And I was out there and I watched them find, you guys found the gas line, water line, and sewer line, correct? And Nick's keeping a close eye on all that for us, and reports back to me, and also reports to Jobs and Henderson. I went ahead and took a bunch of pictures before construction, before we started on the Sunbelt project, because I didn't want something to happen there and then them to come back later and say, hey, you didn't fix this, or this was the way that was, or whatever. And also, this project, the Scioto Fox Run Lift Station removal, will have to be completed before December 2014. These are actually the pictures of the Sunbelt location. Right out here is where we will be digging a hole on the other side of this fence to intercept the sewer line. So I took a picture on that side of the fence, and then also we'll be crossing this parking lot right here too. And we will be going underground because it's going to be bored, directionally bored. And we'll be taking a path somewhat kind of like straight through here, and we will bore under their parking lot with the sewer line. This is the back portion of their parking lot. Fox Run additions over on this side. We will be coming with the sewer line straight down here. We will dig a pit right here, and we will bore under that parking lot that I showed you in the previous slide. This is the front portion of that fence I was talking about. This is where it'll intercept out front here. Here's one of the sewer lines. That's probably the gravity in, and they move back the other way. But what we'll be doing is we'll be running a line down here and gravitating it to another lift station. We'll be doing away with the lift station at Fox Run. Again, there's another picture of the parking lot that we'll be going under. That far back corner back here is where I showed you earlier. And we'll be going under this pavement and into that location. We'll be hugging this side of the parking lot more. I mean, that's all I have.
Anything else? Anybody?
I will, for the next meeting, I will get another bid price and also check on the mortgage for you for the next time you guys have you'll have a it'll be a finance committee.
Thanks, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward.
Hey, very good job.
Looking forward. What's the phone program?
Fats, oil, and greases, and it's mainly for restaurants. We go into the restaurants and make sure that they're getting rid of their grease properly and that they're pumped
Instead of flushing it out in the sewer.
instead of flushing it out in the